Welcome Galactic family. Darling, I am Joshua, your friend. I'm here right now as a brother. Accept my company, my presence, for I am not far off. I want to touch your heart with my hands, to remind you of who you are and the unity that connects us. Greet me and open your heart to me. I am a messenger of unity and I kneel before you, because you are my brother, and I see in you an equal, a companion of soul. I respect what you do and what you are on earth. This is one of the darkest places for a soul to be incarnated in a human body. When he is here, it is extremely difficult for him to remember who he is, of his cosmic origin, his grandeur, his vastness, his eternal nature, for everything here seems to be aimed at his forgetting of himself, his deepest essence. From an early age, you learn to rely only on your sensory perceptions, what your eyes, ears, and nose tell you is the true reality. The material world around them is seen as the synthesis of what is real, solid and true. Especially at this time, when the scientific view encompasses everything, there is great skepticism about the ability to see beyond physical, sensory reality. To see with the inner vision, to feel and to intuit with the heart, all this is dismissed as not real, as foolish superstition. This is a great paradox, for it is only at the soul level that you find out who you really are. It is exactly in the inner world, not the outer world, that you find yourself. You end up straying from the path in this society, because much emphasis is placed on the importance of appearances and on external and verifiable knowledge. According to this society, for something to be considered real and true, it must be perceived with the senses or deduced by the mind. But what about all the feelings that people are facing, such as the deep solitude and futility that many have to deal with? This is not only an individual problem, but fundamental in the world. There is a profound existential crisis in the world, which erodes the hearts of most individuals. There is a lack of the soul as a source of meaning in daily life. Who or what is the soul? In the present day it is courageous who seeks the soul explicitly, which sets aside the constraint of restrictive rational thought and looks within itself, seeking what is alive at its deepest level, especially if it is different from existing patterns and social concepts. And so he slowly penetrates his inner world, where he finds not only light but also darkness. For, just when the door of the inner world is opened, the individual becomes aware of all its shadowy parts. It is then that he is tested and will have to rely on the greater reality of the soul, to realize that even the seemingly darkest parts have meaning. It is desperately necessary to recognize and feel the soul in this world. This is the way back home, back to who you truly are. From the light that radiates from there, it is that you can instill new ideas in the world and imbue it with new energy, courage and confidence. There are so many things needed here that can flow into the world through the channel of an awakened soul. There is so much sorrow, so much pain and suffering in this world, and I am not saying this to discourage you, but to emphasize how important and urgent it is that you recognize and feel the soul in your life. In this way you become the light, not only for yourself but also for others. How do you connect with your soul? This world is so alienated from the soul that this question is rarely asked. It is a question that is never presented to children while they are growing up and attending school. How do you connect with your inner world? And not only with your transient moods and emotions, but with what lies behind your inner world. Is there a more permanent world, the world of your soul, the energy of your unique I, the energy of your soul? This is probably not even recognized, so you are not taught to ask for it or connect with that world. And the result is this spiritual poverty that exists here. to explain to you what the reality of the soul is, I invite you to imagine that you are at the last hour of your life, that death is approaching and you will cross the threshold of the afterlife. You have done this many times, because you have lived many lives on earth, and in all of them you have crossed that threshold in the end, sometimes with more peace in your heart than in others. But even when you had a difficult transition, with a sense of struggle in your heart, you also experienced intense release, at a time when, as a soul, you have detached yourself from the physical form. The more you die in peace, the happier the transition, but in any case in the detachment from the earthly body there is a deep sense of relief, of returning to a natural mode of being, which is so familiar to you that you do not understand how could have forgotten. Come with me, abandon all the negative ideas about death and imagine that you are at the end of your life. You give up the fight, and the moment you let go of your last breath, you, your soul, leave your earthly body very delicately and smoothly. With ease, you ascend out of your body and instantly feel the lightness. Not just the light around you, but the lightness of your body, flexibility, agility and lack of weight and effort. You're like a bird that immediately flees to where your heart takes you. Let your imagination fly. Imagine what happens when you are free of your earthly body, and go where your heart will draw you in terms of a new environment. Maybe you see a garden, or the sea, or a forest, that appears to you effortlessly. And in everything you see, you perceive and feel the life that comes from within. All who live look upon you with kindness. A kind invitation emanates from everything you see. And there is a gorgeous and splendid beauty. You feel the joy bubbling in your heart, and then you think, ah, this is how it should be. This is normal, this is natural. Here I am at home, in my home. You will find deceased friends and relatives, and also guides who will receive you with an open heart, who silently allow you to be who you are, and who will extend a helping hand when necessary. You have just entered the soul dimension. Everything there is different. Space and time seem much more flexible because it is possible to be in another place if you want and if your heart is drawn there. The interior takes precedence over the exterior. If you connect with someone on the inner level from the heart, and your call is answered, you suddenly find yourself together in a physical atmosphere. Although not as physical as on earth, here in the afterlife, we still manage to talk in terms of forms. You have one body, the other person has a body, and you can communicate with one another, but with much more ease and less effort than you are accustomed to on earth. In addition to space and time being more flexible, the shape of your body is also flexible. The form you assume is very agile and fluid. You can take on a physical form and look old or young, to your liking. The color of your hair, of your eyes, everything can be modified. And this gives you joy. You choose the form that is most appropriate to you internally, the one that pleases you the most and facilitates your communication with another person. In this soul dimension, you realize that your inner gives shape to your outward appearance. What lives within you determines what is outside of you, what surrounds you. Feel this for a moment. What is within you that gives form, which attracts and creates these experiences for you? Apparently, you are not the way, you are not your body, because you can present yourself in different forms. You are neither the place where you live nor the role you play, because this is very flexible and dynamic. What remains constant is what you call the heart. Feel your heart for a moment. Feel how your heart, in this different atmosphere that reigns on this other side, is free to explore, discover and find, and feel the joy of it all. And then realize how much you knew, how much knowledge there was in you. Ask your soul if it now wants to appear to you in a joyful, free and happy way that is appropriate for this moment. Or, perhaps, in the form of an old woman or an old man, or a child, whatever. The soul now chooses the proper form for the most perfect transmission of a message to you. Let your soul appear to you for a moment, and if you do not hear or see anything, then feel it. Feel the dimension of the eternal, of which you are a part. And allow her to enfold you. There was a time when you were this free bird. In essence, you are this joy, this creative freedom. Allow it to penetrate your body, and down to your abdomen. Be free, and live from that inner freedom. What is the purpose of the soul on earth? Why is she here? The soul wants to learn to awaken in this dimension. This is a dimension in which you can easily forget yourself so profoundly that you become totally alienated from your essence. His soul wanted to be here. She is a messenger of God, a particle of this all-powerful energy that you call God. Your soul is a singular particle of this infinite creative source. It is working to develop over time, but not this type of time you know on earth. The soul world is much more vast and immeasurable than can be measured by earthly standards. As I said, time and space are very fluid and mobile at the soul level, and are formed more from the inside than from the outside. It can be said that your soul is emerging in this process through development in all kinds of life, and one of those lives is shaped by you. You are a unique fusion of your soul with this earthly personality, so no one is exactly like you. You are also special to your soul. This life is a unique circumstance in which your soul wants to discover and deeply understand what it means to live here in a body, and also to give of itself. Feel how brave and grand your soul is, though, in essence, you take care of it. It is you who takes the risk of this step. Respect yourself. You are a great being, an inalienable part of God Himself, although you constantly become so small and suffered from social prejudice and the concepts of good and evil. When I ask you to connect with your soul, I am asking you to unite with your light and also with your fire. Light is fire also, and fire represents passion, enthusiasm, inspiration. You are a strong soul, and in order to undertake an adventure of incarnation on earth, you need a lot of courage. You take the risk because you can reach unimaginable depths. And, in fact, it has reached these depths, because this is not the first time it is here. You have gone through unimaginable gulfs in your life on earth, yet you are here again. So there is in you a conviction, a passion, a fire that makes you determined to be here and let your light shine. To connect with this fire, you must also face the dark emotions, your dark side, whatever name you give them. Everything that lives in these emotions has a message for you: anger, fear, hatred, resistance. Everything that has been labeled negative brings a vital force within you. Connect with this reservoir of emotions. Invoke it. Give him permission to come up dark and weak. There is in you a primitive force. Feel it from the depths of your being. Let it come from the earth through your root chakra, and allow yourself to feel it. Take root on earth, trust in your strength and assume your power on this planet, and do not hesitate, for you are too immense, beautiful, and rich in our treasures to do so. We need you on earth as a beacon of light, and the first step to this is to remember, to recognize, who you are, and to revive the dimension of your soul in your day-to-day, within yourself. I started this conversation by saying that respect, that I kneel before you, and these are not empty words. You are one who carries the torch of light in this world and is opposed to restrictive worldviews. And do not do so by rough words or by force, but by an inner connection with who you really are. putting the dimension of the soul first, as he naturally did when he was in that other world, before coming here. Recognizing that reality again and allowing it to radiate in this world in full conviction, you literally bring light here. Thank you for your presence today in this world. Do not doubt who you are. Be the bright and beautiful light that you are. Thank you very much.